Speaking English is trouble for many people, for many speakers, and it shouldn't be so. I am here to give you a little bit of comfort, and I am here to guide you through and to tell you how to avoid the stress, how to get ready for public speaking in English, and how to get ready for public speaking, particularly in your working place, in your working environment, working conditions, because this is something that stresses many people, and it shouldn't really be so, because you need to follow just a couple of tips, and these tips will help you. They will be their helping hand in case of trouble. For many speakers, the public speaking, not even actually public speaking, but communicating in English in the workplace is so stressful because they think that it requires a lot of knowledge, that you have to be a proficient speaker of the language if you want to just exchange a couple of sentences with your workmates, with your colleagues, with your supervisors. And this is really not so, because this broad term of business English, something that scares you out, is just the language. I mean, just English with a little bit of new phrases that you need to grasp, and that is all. What you have to remember is that if you want to perform well in your working place, you have to just be a natural speaker of the language. I mean, you just need to know bits and pieces, actually, of the language. I mean, the standard grammar that is there, like a bit of tenses, like passive, conditionals, modals, and actually, this is the whole base that you need. Prepositions, yeah, that is a thing that causes trouble. But actually, this is truly so. This is just it. If you know this, I mean, you can construct basic sentences. And another thing that will help you to construct sentences is to follow verb patterns. This is an interesting subject, a subject that actually could be treated in a separate episode of the podcast, of the performance of the video, because the verb patterns help you see how the English language functions, and then you will never translate from the Polish language into the English language, and then you will produce something called Ponglish, but you will produce true, good sentences in the very language, I mean, in English. So verb patterns, it is something that helps you build sentences, and they actually start, I mean, we start talking about verb patterns, word patterns, when we want to construct a sentence in which there is more than one verb. Because with just a simple sentence with one verb, and verb is action, verb is communication, this is very simple. You say, I have a dog, or I live in Gdańsk, or my mother cooks very well, and you have just one verb. It is that simple. Of course, you have to remember about the proper tense, but with one verb, it is relatively simple. But what happens if you want to build a sentence with more than just one verb? And then here, we need to know about the verb patterns. The easiest way to learn them, I mean, to know what you have to put after the word, like I like swimming, I enjoy talking to you, I love meeting new people. So if you want to know how to do that properly, if you want to know and learn about the verb patterns, all you have to do is actually refer to a English dictionary, monolingual dictionary, where you will have a sentence, then you will have this definition, and then you will have the pattern. And all you have to do is just copy it. So never ask a question why you say, I love speaking English, why you go for speaking. Mind you, it is not a continuous tense. If you learn tenses on the basis just of the gerund form, and whenever you hear the gerund form, you would say that this is a continuous tense, don't do that, because this is how you will cause trouble for yourself. So the gerund structure is just a thing, just an element of the language. It does not imply that this is a continuous tense at all. So I enjoy speaking English. I love meeting new people. The meeting thing or speaking thing that is there, it is artificial, yeah? We just have to learn it. And as I said, the best way is to go to a dictionary and check what it really is. This is how I study that. This is what I know about the language. So these elements, like the tenses, like passive, like conditionals, like unreal tenses, and the verb patterns and prepositions, this is the basics of speaking English. And then if you want to perform well in the business English environment, all you have to do is you have to just learn a couple of phrases that are typical of the business English communication, and that's it. And then you will outperform and everybody will congratulate you on your level of speaking English. So now I'm going to present a couple of very useful and very typical expressions that are there in the business English language or in the business context. And then if you learn them, you will go to work. And then if you have the Zoom call, you will never start panicking as you normally do, because you will have these phrases at hand. Let us start with job application, because that's another milestone. You come to us oftentimes and you tell us that, oh my gosh, I'm going to perform in English, like I'm going to have this job interview in English, and I think I will never do it. Remember that most of the recruiters ask relatively simple questions about your life, about your passions. Of course, if you want to apply for a job that is really based in English, like the whole communication is in English, of course you will get more in-depth questions, technical questions. I know that this is what IT people go through. You get these in-depth questions and they have to present in English, because English is this language for IT. But if you are going to apply for another position, another job, oftentimes these questions are going to be relatively simple. And all you have to do is you will just have to talk about your hobbies, family, interests, about your plans for the future, why you are interested in the job. Please remember that the thing you are going to use, like apply for a job or apply for a position. And then if you do that, if you send in your CV, you are waiting for the call and you are waiting to be shortlisted. So if you are shortlisted, that means that you are this candidate who is possibly going to be chosen, and this candidate is going to be invited for a job interview. There is another episode of the World of English podcast in which I'm talking about the proper phrases you can use while you are at a job interview. So I encourage you to go there and check that for yourselves. But let's now think about the success solution. And the success solution is that you actually get the job. And you can do that at a job interview. You can do that slightly later when you have this meeting with your supervisor, with your boss. But what you have to do is you have to negotiate your pay. So you negotiate money, you negotiate your pay, you negotiate your salary. Mind you, remember that there are two expressions that describe the money that you get. You can get a salary, and this salary is something you get every month. And you can get wages, and this is something you get every week. I do believe, and I do think that wages is something you get with more physical jobs, right? So like a blue collar rather, and white collar workers would get a salary. There is a phrase they say that gentlemen don't talk about money, but it's not true. We have to talk about money. We have to negotiate. We have to negotiate the contract. Contract is another word. I'm going to refer to that in a second. And the phrase to remember is discuss money. Please remember, in Polish, we get the preposition there. But in English, there is no preposition. You discuss something. You discuss a problem. You discuss an issue. And you discuss money. I am coming back to the word contract because we have a few synonyms there. We have a contract, we have an agreement, we have a deal. And most preferably, what you want to do is you want to sign this contract. So after this negotiation process, there is the contract that is drawn up for you. So there is the like a draft version. You go through it, and finally, when all the terms are settled, so you come to an agreement, you come to a consensus. Both of the sides are satisfied, and we have the win-win situation. The expression win-win situation is very productive in business English. This is what we want when we negotiate contracts, when there is a merger of two companies. We don't want to devour, like our opponent in business. We want the win-win situation. So if we have the win-win situation, it means that both parties agree, both parties are satisfied, and then you can sign this contract. If you miss the word contract, remember that you can always use the word deal, you can always use the word agreement. And once you get to the office, to your new working place, there is this onboarding process. I don't know if you have ever thought about that. I don't know if you know where it comes from, like this onboarding process. It is called onboarding because you are welcomed on board, exactly, because you are going to enter a new ship. So there is this board that you enter, and all like your supervisors, colleagues, depending on what is the structure of the company, they will guide you through this onboarding process. And the greatest trouble that is often there, it is meetings, because we have a lot of meetings while we are working in an office. Right now it is hybrid oftentimes, so that would be both the meetings online and offline, but it doesn't matter if this is online or offline. What matters is that if you are busy, you can say, I am in a meeting. Or if there is a colleague that is busy, you would say that he is in a meeting. Please remember this phrase, very simple. So the person is busy, the person is engaged, they cannot talk to you. They will call you later because they are in a meeting. Don't stress out when it comes to meetings. If they are online, if they are offline, because I'm sure that you are prepared to present. If you have to construct a couple of sentences in English, you will do that. Just remember what I talked about before. So that would be the basic grammar. That would be a couple of expressions in the business English context, so to say. All companies, as they are operating around the world, all companies want to make a profit. So if you are working for the companies, you also want to contribute to the profit. You also want to make a profit. And no company wants to make a loss, on the other hand. So we've got these two phrases, make a profit and make a loss. You wouldn't like to do that. And the expression that deals with, that covers these profit making would be making money. So we make money, but we do business. And you can do it solo, like you are responsible for it as a person working there, or you can contribute to it as part of a team. And the last thing I want to refer to here is the word presentation. Another scary thing, especially when we have to present in English. It shouldn't be scary. You can conduct a presentation. You can carry out a presentation. You can deliver a presentation or deliver a speech. I hope with this short video I helped you out with the phrases. Go through it as many times as you want to, and I'm sure you will be prepared for your onboarding process in your new company in English.